Good morning. This is Sandy Thorpe with video number 3. Video number 2 didn't upload. Not quite sure why. Still working on it. 5 days going, night and day. Who knows? So we're just going to plow right ahead, go on to video number 3. So for today's video, you're going to need a block. Kleenex box works fine. And maybe 2 towels, blankets, whatever you have. Otherwise, you could have 2 blocks. You'll find out. You'll just need it just for a little extra support. So let's get started. We're going to bring the legs out in front, and let's inhale, come all the way up. Exhale forward. Stretch out the hamstrings. And again, inhale all the way up through the spine. Exhale forward. So we're going to do some things today that are going to require us to have pretty stretched out hamstrings. So we're going to try and stretch them out as much as we can. And let's slide up. Let's bring the hands behind you. Open up the feet to about hip distance apart and just lift up into reverse plank. So one big straight line from your toes on up to your head. Bring the hips down, bring the feet back together, and let's sweep the arms all the way up. Exhale forward. And let's slide up. Let's open up the legs. So again, just stretching out the legs, stretching out the inner thighs, the adductors in particular. Let's inhale, come all the way up, and exhale straight forward. So just slide your hands out in front. Go out as far as you can. Slide up, and let's bring your left foot in, sweep the arms all the way up, twist off towards your right foot, and bring your hands over to your right foot. Hold it with your right hand, take the left arm, bring it up and over, surround the face, and come back down. Janu Shirshasana, and let's come all the way up, and let's bring both legs out to the sides, inhale up, exhale straight forward again. Slide up, and right foot's going to come in. Again, inhale up, exhale straight forward. Slide the hands out as far as you can. Come back up, bring the arms all the way up, twist off towards your left foot. Leave the left hand there, take the right arm, bring it up and over, surround the face, and come back down. And inhale back up. Let's bring both legs out in front. And again, inhale up. Exhale straight forward. Slide up. Bring the hands behind you. Open up the feet to about hip distance apart and lift up into reverse plank. Bring the hips down. Bring the feet in. We're just going to slide right over to hands and knees, all fours. So from here, round the back, all the way up. And release, arch the back the other way. Bring it back to neutral and push right back into child's pose. So we're just stretching out, letting the hips open up. And let's tuck the toes, pull the hips up, back into downward facing dog. Push back, get a great big stretch. Again, for the hamstrings, maybe bend one knee and stretch it out, other knee, walk the dog a little bit. Push the hips back a little further. Really stretch out the backs of the legs. And let's come forward into plank. Body's one straight line from your head to your heels. Lower it down to chaturanga. Sweep it up into up dog. Lift the toes and come back into downward facing dog. Let's raise the right leg up. Let the leg flop over. Just open up that hip. Maybe rotate that leg around in the hip socket. One direction, other direction. And then extend that leg straight out behind you. Square off the hips. Exhale. Bring the knee to your nose. Round up the back. Send it back out again. Let's bring the knee all the way forward, place the knee on the ground, coming right into Kapotasana Pigeon. Sitting up, sending in. Again, keep the hips as square to the mat as you can. Option here, if your hips are not touching the ground, you can take one of your towels, place it underneath that right hip, and then slide forward, bringing the arms way out in front. From sleeping pigeon, walk the hands back up. Move the blanket. And let's tuck your left toe, lift the knee off the ground, send that leg back into your three-legged down dog. And bring the knee forward again. This time plant the foot in between your hands. We're going to drop the left knee, flip the left foot, and then sweep the arms up. Let the hips come forward. Bring the hands down to the ground. And we're going to straighten out the right leg. Bring your nose to your right kneecap. Shift the hips back forward. This is where you may want to take one blanket, pillow, block, whatever you have, place it on each side of you. And we're going to bring it into full monkey god. So we're going to shift the hips forward. We're going to walk that right foot straight out in front. Just keep sliding, walking, come all the way down. So it's where if you want, you can have your hands on the blankets. You can have that to support you. We're just stretching out the hamstrings again. Go as far as you can. And when you feel like you're going to get ripped in half, shift your weight to the right side. Bring the right hand into the side and bring the right foot back. And we're going to push back into child's pose. Stretch it out. From child's pose, tuck the toes. Come back into your downward facing dog. Let's come forward into plank. Lower down to chaturanga. Sweep it up into up dog. The toes back into down dog. And this time your left leg is going to get raised. The leg flop over. Just rotate that leg around. One direction, other direction. Extend that leg straight out behind you, square off the hips again. Then exhale, bring the knee to your nose, send it back. And bring the knee forward again. This time place the knee on the ground in between your hands. Coming into pigeon, Kapotasana on this side. Bringing up, settling in if you want. Again, you can wedge a towel underneath your left hip. And come all the way down. Maybe stretch the arms out in front, maybe just your forearms. Play around with that. And let's walk back up. And we're going to tuck the right toe, lift the knee off the ground, send the left leg back into our three-legged down dog. Bring the knee forward again, place the foot in between your hands, drop your right knee, flip the right foot, sweep the arms up, and let the hips fall forward to Anjaneyasana, crescent pose. Nice stretch for the hip flexors here. Bring the hands down to the mat, straighten out your left leg. Bring your nose to your left kneecap. Shift your weight forward, and this time we're going to walk our left foot out in front, coming into Hanumanasana, monkey god pose, which is basically the split. So go as far as you can, as far as you want to. Once you can get your heel off the mat, you may be able to slide a little more easily on the floor or the surface, whatever you want. So again, our purpose is just to stretch out the hamstrings. And shift your weight to your right hand. Bring the left hand aside. Bring the left foot back. And push back into child's pose. Stretch it out. Let's tuck the toes, pull it back into downward facing dog. So we've had some requests for elbow plank. We're going to get into a few different kinds of planks, starting first with full plank. So bring it to full plank, high plank sometimes called. Bring your left hand to the center, release the right arm, and release up into Vasisthasana side plank. So options here, let's maybe try a side tree today. See if you can bring that foot up, place it in the inside. Easier options, you can have your left knee on the ground. You raise that leg, lots of choices here. From here, bring the foot down if it was up, and we're gonna revolve back to the center and then go off to the other side into Vasisthasana side plank on the side. So again, the option du jour, maybe bring the foot into kind of a side tree. And let's come back into full plank and lower on down to our elbows, coming into elbow plank. Bring your left elbow to the center, pivot on the toes, release up into side elbow plank. So we're doing a series of revolving planks here, high planks down to elbow planks. Leg comes down, pivot back to the center, go the other direction. Again, option, top leg can be up for more challenge here. Let's release back into full plank and pull the hips up, walk the feet in, coming into dolphin. Push the hips back, feel that great big stretch in your hamstrings. Drop down to the knees. And before you push back into child's pose, let's bring it up for a second. And this is where you might want to move your block, Kleenex blocks. Product placement, just kidding. And let's tuck the toes. Actually, let's shift back into child's pose. Just take a breath or two here. And then tuck the toes, come back into downward facing dog. And let's come forward into plank. Or down to chaturanga, pull it up, and tough dog. Flip the toes, back into down dog, and raise the right leg up. Let the leg flap over so your knee is pointing up to the ceiling. And then either hold it here or flop all the way. So the foot will come down, find the ground. We're gonna pull the hips up, reach the arm up towards the sky, and then overhead. Arch the back as much as you can here. Nice big stretch all the way around. And from Wild Thing, let's flip back into downward facing dog, right leg up. Right foot comes forward in between your hands. Left foot is going to plant flat in the ground, coming right up into warrior one. Inhale up, exhale into warrior two. Right arm to the front, left arm behind you. Let's reach forward. Flip the right palm up, and left hand's going to slide down the back of your leg. Inhale up, back into warrior two. Reach forward again. Straighten out the right leg, slide the hand down, coming into triangle. So again, you should be feeling a nice stretch in your, in this case, right inner thigh. And shift your weight to your right foot. Right hand is going to reach out, find the block or the mat, and bring it into half moon or Chandrasana. So the option today, if you want to give it a try, maybe try and release that right hand off the mat. And release both hands, both feet down into standing forward fold Uttanasana. Let's walk your hands off to your right foot. Back to center. Back to your left. And back to center. Inhale up to a flat back. Exhale down. Let's hop or walk back into plank. Lower down to chaturanga. Pull it up and top dog. Flip the toes, back into down dog. From down dog, raise your left leg up. Let the left leg flop over. And again, you can either hold it here or for a little more challenge, just let the foot find the ground. So it'll be off your mat, that's fine. Pull the hips up, arch the back, push the arm to the front, and then downward. And squat back, down dog, left leg up. Bring the left foot forward, place it in between your hands. Right foot plants, flat on the ground. Back into Virabhadrasana, warrior one. Inhale up, exhale, warrior two. Shoulders are back, palms are down. Reach forward. Flip the left palm up, right hand's going to slide down the back of your leg. Inhale up, back into warrior two. Reach forward, straighten out the left leg, slide the hand down to the ankle, into triangle, Trikonasana. Stretching out the left inner thigh, left adductor. And then shift your weight to your left foot. Left hand is going to reach out, find the mat or the block, and bring it into half moon. And option here, maybe release the hand. And then release down into standing forward fold. From here, let's bring the arms up, bring the hips down, bring it right into chair, Utkatasana. So our feet and knees are together or no more than hip distance apart. Arms are up by your ears. Coming lower and lower. Nice stretch for the Achilles. And then pull it up onto your tippy toes. And let's come down. Let's come all the way down. Open up the knees. Stretch up the arms into toe balance. Let's bring the hands down to the mat. And place the hands on the mat. And we're going to come into an easy Bakasana. So I'll give you two versions. Easy version, bend the elbows, take each arm. Imagine you're gluing your tricep to the inside of your knees, legs, between your knees and your ankles actually. And bend the elbows and we just rock forward. Maybe one foot comes off the ground, maybe the other one, maybe you go back and forth, maybe both. And play around with that. And you want to try and be looking about a foot in front of you. And then the harder and a little more official version of Bakasana, crane or crow, is where in this case you're going to lift up your hips a little bit higher. So you start from your squat, lift up the hips, shift your weight forward, and you want to clamp your knees under your triceps, so just like a giant vice. In this case, the arms are straighter. And if you're looking about a foot in front of you, maybe you can jump back without hitting your head in the flower pot. Back into plank. Otherwise, walk back, lower down to chaturanga, pull it up into up dog. Flip the toes, back into down dog. Let's push the hips back, get a bigger stretch here for the hamstrings. We're going to keep continuing to stretch our hamstrings. And then drop the knees down and push back into child's pose. Stretch it out. From child's pose, we're going to take a couple breaths here. Let's walk your hands off the mat to your right. Slide the hips off to your left. Bring the hips back to center, hands back to center. Lock the hands off to your left, push the hips off to your right. And hands back to center, hips back to center. From here, let's tuck the toes, pull the hips up, back into downward facing dog. And raise your right leg up. Bring that right foot forward. Place it in between your hands. Left foot is going to plant flat in the ground. Coming back into our warrior one. From here, shift your weight to your right foot. And the left foot is going to come up into tree. So for tree, the foot can either be down in the ground, just below the knee, or above the knee. Your choice here. Stretching up through the spine. Let's bring the arms behind you. Stretch the arms out. And we're going to try a toppling tree. So we're going to start to bring the head down. And then when you get about halfway, release that right leg. Bring it straight out behind you. So you're basically into a variation of Warrior 3. And then just come lower and lower and lower. Bring the arms up, bring the head down. And then release both hands, both feet down into standing forward fold. Walk the hands off to your right. Back to center, off to your left. And back to center. Let's reverse swan dive. Come all the way up. And let's just open up the feet to about hip distance apart. Pull up. And exhale off to your right into windshield wipers. Inhale up, off to your left. So how do we do that? We're going to try the other side. It's a great thing about yoga. Try one side and you always try the other side. Very symmetrical. Let's inhale up, swan dive out, exhale down. Inhale up to a flat back, exhale down. And then hopper walk back into plank. Lower down to chaturanga, up into up dog. Flip the toes, back into down dog. Then let's raise the left leg up. Bring the left foot forward, place it in between your hands. Right foot plants flat in the ground. Bring it up into warrior one. It's one of my sort of neighbors from Capitola. And shift your weight to your left foot this time. Right foot is going to come up into tree. Again, below the knee, just below the knee, or above the knee. So we give our knees so much wear and tear in this lifetime. Trust me, I know. And if you can avoid having your foot on the knee, please do. By bringing the hands behind you, stretch the arms out, stretch up through the spine, and start to hinge forward. So just like you're going into stork, only not quite. And then when you get about halfway, bring the arms up high as you can, release that right leg, coming back into our toppling tree. So again, we're coming lower and lower. Our leg is going up higher. Release both hands, both feet down. And release both feet down into standing forward fold. Let's wrap your arms around your knees. Let your head hang down. Stretch out the hamstrings yet again. And let's reverse swan dive. Sweep the arms all the way up. And pull up. Swan dive out. Bring the arms behind you. Pull the arms away from you. And we're going to do that same stretch, only with both feet in the ground this time. Just letting the head hang down and the arms come all the way up. You should be feeling a really nice stretch in the backs of the legs. Let's release the hands down to the mat. And inhale up to a flat back. Exhale down. Let's hopper walk back into plank. Lower down to chaturanga, up into up dog. Flip the toes, back into downward facing dog. From here, let's hop or walk into a seated position, legs cross-legged in front. Bring the hips down, and then bring the legs straight out in front. Let's bring the hands behind you. And let's bring the feet in. And we're going to lift up the hips. And we're going to crab walk, so our hands are at the back of your mat. So your hands are at the back of your mat. Pull the hips up. Let the head hang back into tabletop. Hips are up, 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 up. You should be able to look down your chest and see one straight line from your chin to your kneecaps. And let's raise the right leg straight up. So it's parallel with the left one. Secretly doing a little bit of glute work here. In the left glute. Push forward, bring your hips down behind your left foot. Push from your hands and bring the arms all the way up, all the way forward, finding your right toes. Stretch up. Press the left knee down. And again, inhale up, exhale forward. You should be able to get a deeper stretch with that knee out of the way. That pesky knee. Let's slide up. And let's bring the hand behind you. And bring your right hand onto your right knee with the palm facing upward. And we're going to lift up the hips and just sweep all the way to the back. So one big, nice, graceful arch from your right hand down to your right foot. Let's release, bring the hips down. That, by the way, is not an official yoga pose. It's just a sandy stretch. Let's pull the knee up. It's kind of in between a couple different poses. And then place that foot onto the right side of your right leg. Pull up nice and tall. And bring your left hand behind you again. Take your right elbow. We're going to press it into the knee and get a big twist. Pull right up, nice and stretch tall through the spine. Let's release. Keep the legs where they are. In fact, even pull it in a little bit closer. And now we're going to twist off to the right. We're going to place your hands about a foot or so from your hips. And we're going to come down into a series of little mini push-ups. So we're going to come down and push up. Now the goal here is that we want to get so that our right seam, the seam of your right pants is on the ground. So maybe you want to lift up the hips, place them back down. Come down and up. Maybe again, lift up the hips, twist. So you want to have your right hip on the mat. Come down and up. And maybe one more. Down and up. Let's come back in. We're going to come into baby grasshopper. It's a fun one. Kind of an easy one, except we needed to have our legs really stretched out. So we'll see if we achieve that purpose. So we're going to bring the right arm in and kind of stake it up against your side of your body. Left foot in, nice and close. And sweep the left arm up and then bring it forward in front of that knee. Forward, see if you can find your right big toe. And just stretch up that leg. So again, you should be feeling a big stretch in that hamstring. Let's release down. And we're going to try it again. This time we're going to lift all the way up. So again, make sure that you're on your right hip. Right arm is going to be staked in. You can tailor whenever we do this. We had a workshop and I said, stake your arm in, and all of a sudden I heard, stake. Arm comes up, arm over, and we're going to pull the foot up, shift your weight to that left foot, and then pull off the ground much as you can. And release. Bring the hips down, unravel the legs. That was a fun one, huh? And let's inhale all the way up, exhale forward. And let's come up, walk your hands behind you, bring the feet in, and lift the hips up, and we're going to crab walk again back to the back of our mat. So your hands are at the back of your mat. Lift the hips back up, let the head hang down. And let's extend your left leg straight out in front. And push forward, let your hips come down behind your right heel. Bring the left foot down. Inhale up, exhale forward. Slide up. And press the right knee down. Pull the right foot in. Nice and close, sit up nice and tall. And right hand's gonna come behind you. And left hand is gonna be on your left knee with the palm facing upward. Lift up the hips, sweep all the way to the back. Big stretch, nice graceful arc. Release, down, turn back to the front, bring the knee up, and place the foot onto the left side of your left thigh. Pull up through the spine. And again, right hand behind you, left elbow into the knee, and twist around. And let's leave the foot there. And we're going to turn again. I'm going to pivot slightly so that's easier for you to see. So we're going to place your hands off to the left. And we're going to come down again into our series of little mini push-ups. Down and up. And again, maybe lift up the hips. So you want to have the left hip, left seam of your tights, whatever, on the mat. Coming down and up. Maybe pivot again. And down and up. And again, maybe down and up. Pull up. Bring the foot in, nice and close. And left arm is going to come in nice and close to the body. Bring the right arm up and over on the inside of your right knee. Find that big toe and just pull it up. So again, our final stretch to get that leg really stretched out. If you can't reach your toe, you could probably work with using a strap or just, the pant leg or something. Ankle, whatever you can reach. Pull down. All right, and one last time, tighten up. Make sure that your left seam is on the mat. Reach up, over. Jam the arm into the leg. Pull up. Shift your weight, this time to your right foot. And we're just going to stretch up, maybe even stand up. And when you're done, go as far as you can here. It didn't work for me this time. Bring both legs out in front. And let's inhale all the way up. Exhale forward. And let's pull the feet in. So we're sitting up nice and tall to the spine. Wrap your hands around your feet, pulling up into butterfly. Let's separate the feet, do a big toe hold, and tilt back so you're just on your sits bones. Stretch out the legs into our kind of flying butterfly. And then pull in so your legs are bent. So again, I'm going to pivot so it's easier for you to see what we're doing here. So pull in, and then bring the legs straight out in front. Stretch them out again, coming into a variation of boat, Navasana. Pull out again. Pull in so the legs are bent. And we're going to roll right back into happy baby. So just double check, make sure there's nothing behind you that you might hit your head on. And we're just going to round the back and come right down. So your head is on the ground, legs up to the sky, feet are apart, knees are apart. Maybe rock from side to side. Press the back into the mat. Then let's come back to center. Let's extend the legs straight up. Stretch out the hamstrings. Get a good stretch here. And with your hands on the mat, either hold it here or lift up into shoulder stand. So legs are straight up. Let's release the legs all the way over into plow. Release your hands, roll down, bring the hands back to the mat. Come down very slowly. Legs are up, and legs are coming lower and lower and lower and lower and lower. And then just before your feet reach the ground, bring your knees into your chest. Let's send them back up again. And again, legs coming lower and lower and lower and lower. This time, let's plant the feet on the ground. And articulating your spine. Let's bring the back off the mat, one vertebrae at a time, so it's all the way up. Roll the shoulders underneath, maybe clasp your hands underneath you. Push the hips up a little higher. You want to have your knees no more than hip distance apart. Just pushing up, stretching. And maybe walk your feet in a little bit closer. See if you can reach your heels or your ankles. Hold the hips up higher still. Option here, if a back bend is in your practice, Urdhva Dhanurasana, bring the arms up towards the sky, right over by your ears, and then we're just going to press up. Nice stretch for the quads. When you come down, you want to tuck the head, come down onto your back or shoulders, roll the back down, bring the knees into your chest, pull in tight, rock from side to side, stretching the back in the other direction. Let's come back to center. Let's hold the right knee in, extend the left leg out, kind of a jackknife sort of move. And left knee comes in, right leg comes out. Both knees are going to come all the way in. Let's bring the arms out to both sides. Bring both knees up to your right.